All right, we're back with a 50 for 50 episode. 2016, Solange, Seat at the Table. When's the last time you heard this album before we re-listened to
it? I was going to say yesterday. Because I listened to music on shuffle so much, it had been a long time since I'd listened to the album in its entirety. Also, it has a lot of skits in it, which I don't particularly care for. But yeah, all that to say, it's been a minute.
You know, the skits thing is pretty interesting because I'm normally with you on skits. I'm just like, I don't care about this.
Yeah.
But the skits were incredibly meaningful to her. Like she just didn't put, people goofing on her skits. She made them of value. Her dad talking about racism, her mom talking about the hair. Master P, I'm not listening to Master P's music, but I would listen to Master P talk about being an entrepreneur.
Sure.
He talks about watching the Avon lady and what she did and how he then used that, seeing that as a kid in starting out No Limit. So stuff like that is cool. And I think there's a historical and a cultural aspect to what she was trying to do with those skits. So I like them for sure. But right, if you're shuffling, you're like, oh man, I want to hear Master P.
Yeah, I don't want to hear
Avon lady again. So if you listen to this album in full, I think I kind of like the way that the skits or the interludes are kind of placed. But if you're trying to jam out and listen to some music, they're just kind of in the way sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay, so 2016 is interesting, and the people who are listening to all these episodes, they probably have realized that a lot of the ones we've done so far have been earlier, and the reason is because we've just heard that music so much more. It's been so much a part of our lives that an album in 2016 doesn't have the same weight with us necessarily as something like an album from our youth. So we are trying to get closer to this 2010s and 2020s time frame. But I think it's just like when we look at a list and go, oh, what do we want to do next? The 2010 stuff, it's just not as part of us as much as the older albums.
No, I mean, culturally, we were, I think, in a different place. Like we're 40 in 2016 and maybe not as plugged into whatever is kind of happening in the zeitgeist at that particular time. Like we don't care as much. We've got all of our stuff, we've got 40 years of stuff already like built up. So yeah, I mean, our fingers kind of not on the pulse anymore. We're moving into the smartphone age. We're moving into the Spotify age. We're moving into, the TikTok and Instagram age where music is maybe a little bit more disposable and less meaningful to us, or new music is anyway. So yeah, I think all of that kind of factors in a little bit.
2016, you said something that it just hit me like a ton of bricks right now.
Everybody died in 2016.
Well, okay, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. Yes.
The year we turned 40.
Yeah.
And when I think about this album, if I didn't really think about the year that it came out, I would have just been, oh yeah, Solange's album came out a few years ago. No, it came out 10 years ago.
10 years ago. 10 years.
That's wild.
This many. Yeah.
It's so wild. So, the other thing that stands out about this, and obviously when we talked about the Tribe Called Quest, this is the year that of the 2016 election. Yeah. And you can tell in a lot of the music how some of our favorite artists were feeling about it. Right. And I don't know how much of this album has anything to do with the current political thing at the time, but I think Solange, this album is a really good place and time album. I'm just not sure how specific she was in putting it out in that way.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I agree with you. And I was thinking about that before we got online to talk, is that it is a really good place in time album. It's very much like finger on the pulse of what was happening in 2016 and a finger on the pulse of kind of what's happening now, because not a whole lot has changed, unfortunately.
Some people would say it's gotten worse, right?
It's gotten worse. Right. Exactly. but also you think about 2016, it's coming out after, the Black Lives Matter movement is in full effect. Like all of these police killings have happened and they're sort of in the public. Um, there is certainly more of a conversation about mental health that's starting to happen because, a lot of famous people took their own lives. And, because it focuses so much on blackness and, uh, self-care and mental health and all that stuff, like it fits right into the timeline of when that happened.
So as we do our rundown, I did add one extra category. And this, I didn't give you a heads up, so you do not have to do anything with this category. But I specifically added it for this episode, and it's called The Hot Take. So we will get to that category later in this rundown.
Trying to get me in trouble.
Okay. So let's do a little bit of a rundown of what happened in 2016. You already kind of mentioned a lot of the stuff that was happening with a lot of passings. Yeah. So on January 8th, 2016, David Bowie released his final album, Black Star, just 2 days before his death. It was his first album to debut at #1 on the Billboard 200.
Yeah. Great album. And, obviously what a loss. David Bowie is a legend.
On January 28th, Rihanna released her 8th studio album, Anti. 2 days following its release, the album is certified platinum after receiving 1 million free downloads in 15 hours due to a deal with Samsung. Should those count?
Back in the day, you could do, she didn't need to do that. But back in the day, you could kind of do that. And people still game the charts or, game certifications or whatever. Actually, it probably means less than ever because streams count towards the total. But kudos to Rihanna. And to date, that is the most recent Rihanna album.
Yeah, that's crazy too.
She's been busy having babies.
I know. And then in February 15th, the 58th annual Grammys, hosted by our guy, Ladies Love, took place at the Staples Center. Kendrick Lamar won the most awards of the night, and Taylor Swift won Album of the Year for the second time with 1989. Her previous win was for Fearless in 2010. First woman to win Album of the Year twice. Is that true?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I still think to date, no one other. She's now won it, I think, 4 times. And probably will win it a 5th time next year. But yeah, no one else has won it more than once.
That's crazy. March 30th, our girl, we talked about her, R&B singer-songwriter Brandy filed a lawsuit against her label, Chameleon Entertainment Group, for allegedly blocking her from recording and releasing new music. Man.
Industry rule number 3080. 4080. I always forget the number.
It just needs to rhyme. The 80 part.
As long as the 80 part is the important part. Yes, exactly.
April 21st. Here we go again. 7-time Grammy Award winner Prince dies at his recording studio in Minnesota at the age of 57.
Insane.
10 years ago.
10 years later. Yeah. Still kind of hard to wrap my head around that. Like I had some people over last night and we were watching videos and a Prince video came and we were like, man, that dude should still be here.
What do you think Prince would be doing in 2026?
Probably the same thing. He'd be making music. He'd be mentoring younger artists. He'd be touring. Yeah, I think he'd be kind of doing the same stuff.
What do you think he would? Do you think, like politically, that there would be a different edge to his stuff, or he would just be doing Prince stuff?
I think he would still be doing Prince stuff. Look, Prince became popular during like the Reagan years, right? Mm-hmm. And also politically, Prince was a lot more conservative than we are willing to like retroactively, posthumously like admit to. Like he said some homophobic shit. I remember both Prince and Michael were asked about Obama and really didn't say anything about it. So I think they were, I think Prince became more political as he got older and was definitely more of a, type of person to like, Prince was definitely like one of those I'm rooting for everybody black, folks towards like the end of his life. But I'm not sure how immediately political he would be in today's climate.
So you're saying we're lucky that their first recording together, Michael and Prince, wasn't Black Republicans before Jay-Z and Nas.
Yeah, seriously, man. That age, like fuck the milk.
Oh man. April 23rd, Beyonce premiered her 6th studio album, Lemonade, on HBO with an hour-long film. The album was then released on Tidal, where it remained exclusively available to stream for 24 hours until it was uploaded into all formats, including iTunes. Debuts at number 1, and she became the first act on Billboard history to have her first 6 albums debut at number 1.
Indeed.
I think we're not going to do Lemonade. We're going to do a different Beyonce album.
Yes.
But again, 10 years later, what do you have any thoughts on Lemonade?
I mean, I was not a fan of Lemonade when it came out. I have not listened to it very much in the time since.
I mean, it got a lot of hype, right? Like, because there were unspoken things that people thought about that she was trying to say in that album. Yeah. But I was like, that's not the part that I care about. I care about whether or not I want to listen to it.
Yeah, is the music good? I don't care about all the other like side stuff. And I've spoken on previous episodes about how I think all of that was kind of like a publicity stunt anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like, is the music good? And to me, the music was not good. So, I am not to make this Solange episode about Beyonce, but I'm certainly much more of a fan of like first 10 years Beyonce than like last 10 years Beyonce.
Mm-hmm. All right. The 29th of April, Drake. We haven't talked about Drake have we ever talked about Drake?
I mean, I'm okay with that.
Drake releases. We're not going to do
we're not doing a Drake album.
That's for sure.
No.
Drake releases his first studio album in 3 years. Views. The album spends the longest time atop Billboard 200 for a rapper since. Drum roll, please. To the Extreme by Vanilla Ice in 1990.
Oh, get out of here. Wow. That's crazy.
Comparing Drake to Vanilla Ice, huh?
I mean,
in 30 years, is Drake going to be the only one to say yes to do a concert at the White House?
Probably not. Probably not. But, yeah, man.
All right. May 13th, Chance the Rapper released his streaming-only album, Coloring Book, and becomes it becomes the first album to chart on the Billboard 200 without selling any copies. What happened to him? I kind of like that dude.
I mean, I thought he was a likable person. I mean, he's not dead. I think he's a likable person. I'm not a super big fan of his music. I think there was a point in time when he really connected with the audience, and then he put out a record and then got disconnected from the audience, and he's been trying to kind of like claw his way back. So I don't know, man.
Two guys who I really liked, and all of a sudden just fell off the map. Now, I know why the other guy fell off the map, who I will bring up in a second. But I remember one of my kids, just being like so dialed into Chance. Like Chance, when he was so this is 2016. So yeah, he would have been, he'd have been a teenager, like, in his like mid to late teens. And Chance really connected with him. And then soon thereafter, I was like, hey, what's going on with Chance? He's like, eh. Like, it was like so quick, it felt like.
Yeah, it really did.
I wonder if some of it had to do with you know, because Chance seemed like, and I would have to like kind of go back and dig through stuff to verify this, but it seemed like he was like a pretty wholesome guy, and he had like really specific thoughts and ideas about how people should live their lives. And then
Yeah.
he had like a baby and didn't marry the baby mama or something like that. And like, and people were like, oh, like, is he fraudulent? Like, what's going on here?
I mean, I don't know the whatever the entire story is. It does seem really interesting that like, for like a period in time, Chance the Rapper was like this, and now like nobody really even talks about him anymore.
Yeah. The other person I was saying who fell off the map, but for good reason, was B.O.B. Because I was like, B.O.B. is way too talented to just completely fall off the map. But then you go,
but even
oh,
before
I know
he
why
started,
now.
even before he went full Kyrie, he like he put out that second album, and that album had like a Taylor Swift feature on it.
Oh yeah,
I think we talked about that during the Bruno episode.
Yeah,
and it was just like nobody messed with it at all.
I still like it. I actually,
really?
I think that album is decent.
Okay.
I think there's also an Andre 3000 song on that album.
Yeah.
And
like
Andre's like
all the cosigns.
Andre's like going on that album too, because I just saw Andre 3000 say, I think he said something recently where he's like, yeah, I don't rap because I'm too old. Like nobody wants to hear me rap. I'm like, I want to hear you rap. What are you talking about?
You are not too old. Ice-T is damn near 70 and putting records out. So
yeah,
you are not too old to rap Andre 3000.
Sheesh. Maybe he's just he's just waiting for the perfect time to get the Outkast, some anniversary of Outkast album.
I mean, Outkast put out enough records that every year is an anniversary of something.
Yeah.
So
well, because if you think about it, like anybody who is our age or say 10 years younger, there's a pocket of like 10 years of age where Outkast even drops the hint of something and people are like, okay, I'm putting my credit card down.
Yeah.
Send me the vinyl.
Yeah. If Andre was like, I mean, Big Boy is great. I love Big Boy. Even if Andre like by himself was like, I'm putting out a rap record in 2 weeks, 2 months, I'm in. It doesn't make, I don't have to hear a note. Like I'm 100% in.
As much as I enjoy Lauryn Hill, I would much rather hear an Outkast album than a Fugees album.
Yeah. I mean, a Fugees album, never mind. I feel like a Fugees album is just going to be like remakes or like whatever. Like Outkast will be some like funky, like weird shit.
Yeah, I want to hear what is in the mind of Andre and Big Boy in their 50s. I don't know that I want to hear, like, I don't know that I necessarily want to hear that from Wyclef. I'm interested in Lauryn, but I kind of feel like she's at this point where anything she does today, people will see as a disappointment because they just remember so much.
She set such a high bar.
Yeah.
I
mean, I will buy both. So I'm not saying I will not buy a Fugees album, but I would prefer if there was if I had to choose, I would say I'd rather hear the Outkast one.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. August 6th, Sia becomes the first female artist over 40 to have a #1 song with Cheap Thrills since Madonna in 2000. What happened to Sia?
I think she's still behind the scenes, like writing songs. I mean, she made her name really as a songwriter.
Mm-hmm.
So I think she's just like, I'm a write there. That's where the checks are at. I'm just write songs.
A guy we just recently talked about, August 20th, Frank Ocean released his first studio album in 4 years, Blonde. And
it's been 10 years since we last put out a Frank Ocean record. It's crazy.
So I asked my kid about Frank, and because my kid is actually not only my kid, but my stepson. They're like the two biggest Frank Ocean fans I know. And I was like, what's going on with Frank? Do you guys even know? And they're like, he was talking about trying to do something in movies, and like they at least my oldest thinks that he's just chilling because he had a good living from those two albums.
Yeah.
Okay. August 26th, Britney Spears released her first album in 3 years, Glory. I've never heard this album. Is that true, or did I have some misinformation?
It's not fake news. It's real.
Have you heard this album?
I didn't say that. I know what the album. I know what the cover of the album looks like. And I'm sure I had it in my possession at one time or another.
Glory. I'm not sure that's the right title for that album. Okay, and the album we're talking about today, September 30th, Solange releases her first studio album in 8 years, A Seat at the Table. October 21st, Lady Gaga releases Joanne, which debuted at #1, making her the first woman of the 2010s to have 4 #1 albums. If you had to rock with Lady Gaga's music, would you be more into Joanne kind of stuff or her normal stuff?
I mean, you know, I have not really followed Lady Gaga a whole lot after like her first record. So I'm like, give me Poker Face and Telephone and Bad Romance, and I'm good.
I love A Star Is Born, Lady Gaga, so much.
I've never seen that movie.
Dude, you got to see the movie. Not only do you have to see the movie, we should talk about it here because when it came out, 2019, I think. Is it 2021? Right. So like it's been within 10 years it came out.
Yeah.
But the movie is not perfect, but it is really good, and she is really good, and the soundtrack is really good.
Right.
I'm due for a rewatch. I've probably seen it like 3 times, but I'm due for a rewatch.
Okay. All right.
November 4th, Alicia Keys released her first studio album in 4 years. Here, we've done our Alicia Keys episode. Mm-hmm. And this is still my favorite album since this time frame. A Tribe Called Quest released We Got It From Here. Thank you for your service. Their first studio album since 1998, and also their final studio album. So we're coming up on the 10-year anniversary of that album in a couple months here, man.
Come on, Tip, give us something.
He's got to be cooking something, right?
I read somewhere that he was working on like 3 albums, which, I mean, we'll believe it when we see it. But, I mean, it would be great to have new Tip music out.
Did we talk about this on our Tribe episode where my idea was Q-Tip becomes the new Quincy Jones and just puts out this insane collaborative album with like old school OGs, some new cats that he likes?
I mean, it would be great, if you think about all the people that Q-Tip has worked with over the years. Solange,
he's on this album.
He's on this album. Jack White, Demi Lovato, like all of these like sort of left field people. LL, like from all sorts of genres. I think he could make a really good album in that vein, just as kind of like, being the curator of an album.
All right, let's start talking about Solange here.
Before we go into, I do want to say, we talked about Prince and we talked about Bowie, but also like Fife and Prince Beat from PM Dawn and George Michael and Maurice White and 2016.
Did George Michael die in 2016?
He died on Christmas Day 2016.
I don't know why my notes didn't have it.
Yeah, it was a crazy year.
Okay. Did you know Solange's middle name is spelled, I don't know how to pronounce this, Piaget? How would you pronounce that?
Piaget, I believe.
Solange Piaget Knowles. It's like her last name doesn't match her first 2 names. So Solange herself is 40. Is that incredible to you?
That is pretty crazy.
So she's born June 24th, 1986 in Houston, Texas. Obviously the younger sister of Beyoncé. And she made her singing debut at the age of 5 at Six Flags Astro World in Houston.
Wow.
She started writing songs at 9, studied dance and theater when she was little. And by her early teens, she was already embedded in the machine that built Destiny's Child. She was a backup dancer for the group. And in 2000, when she was just a young teenager, she stepped in when Kelly Rowland was hurt on the tour.
Right.
And, her path is interesting because this is not like the Beyonce path. And I was thinking about this, like, if you have two very talented kids, you probably feel like one is maybe a little bit more charismatic or outgoing or fits into a specific scene better, which would be Beyonce. Yet the other kid is also pretty talented. Like, how do you balance that? That sounds insane to me.
I mean, it's crazy because I think, you take what happens in any sibling relationship and then you magnify that, right? Because, by the time Solange is 10, 11 years old, Beyonce is the superstar. And no matter what Solange does, it's going to be considered as kind of like Beyonce is going to be in the conversation. It's like anytime a Jackson does something, Michael's in the conversation. It doesn't matter. At this point, it could be one of 3 generations of Jacksons, but no matter what happens, like Michael's somewhere in the picture. And it's kind of unfair, but it is just what we do as humans. Like, okay, here's this person. She kind of has the benefit of, it's like the gift, to make a weird analogy. It's the gift and the curse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the gift is that Beyonce kind of like clears the runway for her in some ways. The curse is that everything she does is going to be compared to Beyonce.
Yes.
And I don't know, I mean, how Matthew and Tina managed that like internally. I'm sure there were some difficulties, but I mean, they turned out okay. So
little sis obviously is watching big sis just become this giant star.
Yeah.
And people were talking about Beyonce being the one since day one of Destiny's Child.
Oh,
like if somebody is going to get launched, it's going to be Beyonce.
Yeah, I remember. I think Destiny's Child's first tour was like opening for Boys to Men on like the Evolution tour, and I remember I was working at a record store. And my boss went to see the Boys to Men show, and came back and was like, "Yo," he was like, "That light skinned girl from Destiny's Child, they're going to launch her, and she's going to be huge."
Yeah,
and this is 1998 or whatever. So Destiny's Child, this one only really has like one hit. But like you could see it back then that even in this like 4-girl setup, like she was going to like go.
Yeah. And even like, so Solange does dabble in acting early on. She's in some kiddie stuff, movies. She's in Johnson Family Vacation, Bring It On, All or Nothing. But still, even if like she decided like, big sis is going to be in music, I want to be in acting. People wanted Beyonce to be to act too. Like
Beyonce was in, like, she was trying to do like the dual singer actress thing for a while.
I still think Beyonce was solid in Dreamgirls.
Yeah, but she was good. But yeah, I mean,
she's in there with some heavyweights,
super heavy hitters, who all were bringing their A game.
Jennifer Hudson has the best part of the whole thing because the entire
it was written that way.
Dreamgirls is really about Effie White.
It's about Effie White. It's not about Dina Jones.
But if you were to put both of those in that movie, Beyonce had to play the Diana Ross part, right, of the Supremes. So whenever I think of that movie, I always think of that line in the Tribe Called Quest doc where Fife is like, Tip thinks I'm Florence Ballard.
right.
But yeah, she's also in there with Eddie Murphy,
who
gets nominated for an Academy Award for that role. Jamie Foxx, who's kind of still, hot and heavy as a it actor. Just like, yeah, I mean, I thought she did a good job for what she was, but she hasn't really done a lot of stuff since then, right? As far as I
Nah,
can
I mean,
remember.
she doesn't need to.
So Solo Star comes out in 2022, or I'm sorry, 2002.
2002, yeah.
So she's 16, and they are trying to create a pop star leaning towards R&B and hip hop. Jermaine Dupri, the Neptunes, Timbaland are on this album. When's the last time you heard this album?
In 2002.
I try and re-listen to everything. By the way, we're supposed to do Madonna next. You know how long it's gonna take me to listen to all those albums?
We're gonna have to do it a month from now because
we'll see. I'm gonna have to be very strategic with listening to Madonna stuff.
Listen to those albums on 3x.
This album is not great, and also she's 16, so she's young.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel authentic, but at 16, what does feel authentic? Like you're not a fully formed person, and you could tell
you're figuring your stuff out.
Where her career goes. The pop star thing was just not going to work because that's just not going to be her.
Right.
So she was still doing some stuff in the writing game, and I didn't know this. She wrote she co-wrote "Get Me Bodied" on B-Day for her sis. And she's always been more of the like, my sister is this, and I'm going to be left of her. And I love that about Solange. I think that's actually a feature, not a bug.
I would agree with you.
Okay, so a couple of other just kind of tidbits about her. This woman got married when she was 17. Crazy.
So,
yeah, go for it.
What I think happened was she got pregnant, and Papa Knowles was like, and
he went to the trunk.
That was the result of that. Yeah,
he went to the trunk.
Yeah.
So Daniel Smith was the husband and father. Later that year, 2004, she gives birth to Daniel Jr. So she is 17, turns 18, 17 and married, turns 18, has her child, and then 3 years later, they get divorced. 2008, she releases Soul Angel and the Hadley Street Dreams. Here's where she leans left in her career. And she also writes a song that we're going to talk about in a little bit called Cranes in the Sky in 2008. What do you remember how people received Soul Angel?
I mean, I don't think it was a particularly big album. I love it. I think it's a great record. Even then I was like, yo, like, this is a fantastic album.
So what I remember, someone that my good friend Crystal Calderon from the Opinions days, she loved this album. She would always tell me about it, and she would be like, "This is my album." Like what Crystal's our age, maybe a year younger than us. But for whatever reason, she rocked out hard to this album. That's mostly what I remember is when it came out. She's constantly talking about it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I still have like a CD copy of that album. Like, I think it's a really good record.
So 2011, she moves to Brooklyn with her son, launches her own record label in 2013, Saint Records. And then in 2013, relocates to New Orleans, Louisiana. Now, this is something that we talked about already, but May 12th, 2014, security footage leaked by TMZ shows Solange physically confronting Jay-Z in an elevator. One of the most discussed tabloid moments. The family later calls it an unfortunate and private matter that they'd worked through. Now, the story that came out was she was confronting him because she had believed that he had cheated on Beyoncé. That was the story. Now, you have said that you think that was also a publicity grab, and that just the way that it all came out and how all that stuff happened.
Yeah. I mean, look, man, I am a cynical person. I will own that. Nothing that nothing in the last 30 years that has publicly been released that involves Beyonce Knowles has not been scripted. Nothing.
Yeah.
Zero. So, you know, if that was a real moment and they didn't want that footage out, they would have done the Diddy Cassie tape thing and like paid somebody off.
Mm-hmm.
Easy. Jay-Z's got more money than Jesus. Beyonce's got more money than Jesus. They could have made that go away real easy. So the fact that it was leaked, to me, indicates that they wanted it to be leaked.
So, and to take your point a bit further, the reason for them to want that to be leaked is so you can make Lemonade, and so you can make 444.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
there's a narrative.
I'm with the line, Lemonade was a popular drink, and it still is, over the album.
R.I.P. Guru. There you go.
Yeah. Okay, so then so September 30th, 2016, releases A Seat at the Table, her third studio album and first U.S. #1. Wins her only Grammy to date, February 2017, and we'll talk about this a little bit in our Grammys Redux.
Mm-hmm.
Best R&B performance for Cranes in the Sky. Releases her fourth studio album in 2019, When I Get Home. And from then, not a ton from her. I know she's in at least as of 2020, she was in a pretty public relationship with a jazz artist. And then in 2022, she scored a New York City ballet. And I guess 2025, the last thing I have about her, she announced a 3-year appointment at USC's Thornton School of Music beginning in 2027, so next year, to develop a music curation program.
Nice.
Okay, so we have Solo Star in 2022. Soul Angel. Is that the Ice Cream Man? What's going on?
That's the Ice Cream. The Ice Cream Man is coming.
The Ice Cream Man. Oh, man.
Yeah.
I haven't seen an Ice Cream Man in years.
Welcome to Brooklyn.
Shout out to your Ice Cream Man. You might have to. We might have to pause this thing so you can go down and give him like a couple bucks.
Oh God, I'm sure the Ice Cream Man is making dough.
So Soul Angel 2008, True 2012, which was a 7-song EP made independently with Dev Hynes from Blood Orange.
Yep.
And when we get to our one of our newest segments where we talk about who we would like to see these artists work with, my first thought was Dev Hynes, and I was like reading through the notes. I was like, wait, she already worked with him.
It actually happened, yes.
So
I don't think that relationship ended very well, by the way.
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
Seat at the Table 2016, When I Get Home 2019. Seat at the Table, like we said, debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200. Her first #1, and with her and Beyonce, the first pair of sisters ever to each land a #1 album in the same calendar year. That's a neat stat.
I feel like they might be the first pair of sisters to have #1 albums, period. I can't think of anybody else.
Yeah, sisters. Yeah, we'd have to think about that one.
Yeah.
So it was named Album of the Year by Pitchfork, Spin, and Vibe, and landed #6 on Pitchfork's list of best albums of the entire 2010s. And Rolling Stone placed it at 312 on its 2020 revision of the 500 greatest albums of all time. I really like this album, but 312 of all time?
I mean,
how do you even rank an album from 2016 with something from 1965?
there's a whole. I mean, I appreciate that people make lists. I appreciate that people. At this point, any list that has been made by a major publication in the last 10 years is clickbait.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So, a seat at the table. Like we mentioned, she wrote Cranes in the Sky on a CD of instrumentals that Raphael Sadiq handed her in 2008. So she's just, what, how old would she have been? 20, which 22?
2000, yeah, 22, yeah.
22. Raphael Sadiq, man, that guy just has his hands in lots of things that I enjoy.
I mean, and we need to go deep on Raphael.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah. He's been a major part of so many different musical movements in the last 40 years. It's not funny.
So the album, where a lot of the ideas kind of came together was in a small house in New Iberia, Louisiana, her grandparents' hometown, on a former sugar plantation where, as she told NPR, a lot of my family were actually caners. That's wild.
Mm-hmm.
So she isolated herself there, worked 4 straight days on the hardest one of the tracks, Fubu, before finishing the album in LA with Sadiq as the executive producer. And she completed it 3 days before her 30th birthday. There's some quotes here about, she told NPR. She said, "I was writing for myself. I was writing for my family and my friends." And she said the track Rise was shaped by the unrest in Ferguson and Baltimore. So that answers that question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's go through some of the stories, some more stories of the album, of the making of the album. So a little bit more about Cranes in the Sky. So she finished, she turned it into a full song one night in Miami in the aftermath of her divorce from Daniel Smith. So this song had been in the making for quite a while. She said the title came from watching construction cranes dominate the Miami skyline during the real estate boom and finding them jarring against the peace she was looking for. They were so heavy and such an eyesore, and not what I identified with peace and refuge. That story is so interesting because I listened to this song and I'm like, what is the metaphor? I don't get it. Like, I love the song, and we'll get to it with my hot. Well, I have something for the hot take, but I'm like, I don't get this metaphor. Like, what is this metaphor? So that explains it very well. She's looking for peace, and there's this noisy ugliness going on of building, and she's trying to just like, she's not building right now. She's losing because she's breaking her relationship.
Right.
So, some of the interludes. So there was a 3-hour interview session with her parents that she recorded. So Dad Was Mad and Tina Taught Me were the 2 interludes that came out of that 3-hour session. That's like if you and I, like, we recorded this episode and I put it out and I'm like, our episode on Solange, here it is. And it's 5 minutes long.
Right.
There's a lot of editing going on. Or maybe Papa Knowles wasn't telling the kind of stories that she thought fit the theme of the album.
Well, yeah. Who knows how left that conversation went?
So Sadiq recalled hearing one of Solange's choices in the studio that was like really bold, and he reacted with "This shit is for us," praising her for her willingness to take creative risks that most contemporary artists shy away from. That is from The Fader, had that piece.
All right.
So Sadiq brought the album to Columbia Records executive Rob Stringer and described watching it land as, she brought it together, underscoring just how many disparate pieces had to be woven into one coherent statement. So kind of like what I was saying is, like that's why I like the interludes, but I only like it if I want to listen to the album from beginning to end because I think they
Sure.
make sense.
Yes, it like it holds the different parts of the album together. Like it's, meant to be like a glue piece between songs.
Is there a favorite track that you have on this album?
I mean, Cranes in the Sky is my favorite track on it. I could listen to that song like 20 times in a row.
Okay, you want to get to my hot take then?
Yeah, what's your hot take?
My hot take is that Cranes in the Sky is the best piece of music from anyone with the last name Knowles ever created.
I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that take.
That song is like, it's so interesting how she described it because when I listen to that song, I can tell there's hurt.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the beat and the production is peppy enough to where I'm like, I want to listen to the song. It makes me feel good. But she is not feeling good at the same time. Right. She is feeling a sadness and she is trying to be in this place and time. And she is seeing what's going on outside of her bedroom window. And that's the metaphor that she's using. It's a song that I'm just like, man, I don't even know what, I mean, I've been through divorce, of course. So I understand how that feeling of being sad and also wanting to have perspective and wanting to think that things are going to be okay. Right. I think that track is everything. It's like what a human can create with their thoughts and their skills and their writing, and with a little help from Raphael Sadiq just going, here, listen to these tracks, and you're like, okay, this is perfect. That's an ultimate creation to me. That's just artistic, like perfection.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that Cranes in the Sky is the most like emotionally affecting song that any member of that family has ever put out. And I think it speaks to, like, it's a very human thing, right? When we're in pain, we don't know necessarily how to deal with the pain. So we do things that we think are going to cover up the pain or change the pain, but it doesn't necessarily make it go away. Whether it's, the amount of people that think money's going to solve your pain, doesn't do it. People solve their pain from drugs, via food, via sex. Like, she talks about all that stuff. And again, it speaks to a very common condition where it's like, hey, like, we're hurting right now, or I'm hurting right now. And I'm trying to do all of these things to kind of like feel better, and they don't work. Why is, where's my peace? Where is my happiness? Like, why is this not working?
So we talked about Rise, which is inspired in part by the Ferguson and Baltimore protests, co-produced by our guy Questlove.
Mm-hmm.
The Master P interludes start very early. Track 3, you get the first one from Master P. And I remember the first time I heard this album, I probably heard it while I was working. So it's I'm like not paying 100% attention.
Super close attention. Yeah.
It's kind of in the background and I'm just doing my thing. And I hear that voice and I'm like, that voice is familiar. Who is that? And then I remember like looking at the track list and going like, who is this? Like, that's a very familiar. I was like, Master P. Like, Master what? P. What's the connection from Master P to Solange? And really what it is Louisiana, of course.
Right. I mean, and I don't know how, if there are younger people listening to this, but just people don't have any idea how big Master P and No Limit were for a couple of years. Like, even in New York, right? Like, this is very regional, like Southern rap. But anytime like a Master P or anybody on No Limit came out, we'd be sitting there like surprised, because dudes would come in and just buy these records up.
I mean, he got Shaq and then make him say, "Oh, video."
Yeah, I mean, he signed Snoop away from Death Row. Like, Master P was making like big moves. And definitely like from an entrepreneurship standpoint, I mean, back in those days, it was like him and Puffy, were kind of like the people that were leading the way in terms of like hip hop entrepreneurship.
What do you think of Lil Wayne on the track Mad?
I'm not a Lil Wayne fan. I like that song, and I could make like a 10-song mixtape of Lil Wayne songs or features that I like, and that would be on it.
Didn't she date Lil Romeo back in the day?
That was probably PR.
Oh, okay, because then I was thinking because I think Lil Romeo's on one of the tracks from Solo Star.
That makes sense.
I think so. And then has she been like? Because the only thing I remember is the Romeo thing, and I remember she had the baby. But then post that, I don't remember people who she was in relationships with, like famous people that she was in.
Right. I think Solange is just kind of like living her. I don't necessarily think she wants to be like a tabloid celebrity. I think she just wants to like be an artiste.
I think "Don't You Wait" is probably the prettiest her voice is on this album. I really like that song.
Voice.
Yeah. I really like that song. "Don't Touch My Hair" is it's a statement. It's like, hey, let me teach you about something, people.
Yeah, seriously. And I mean, I hope that in the year of our Lord 2026, we don't have to tell anybody listening to this podcast to not touch. I mean, regardless of the color of the person's skin, don't ask to touch anybody's hair.
Yeah.
But I get that people are curious, but it is very invasive. And like, I don't know. I don't have hair, so I don't have that problem. But it just feels like a very rude thing to ask.
If you want to be somebody with zero culture and zero understanding of how the world works, maybe you ask somebody if you can touch their hair. But if you want,
you might get punched in the face.
You might get punched in the face, and that might be the lesson learned, where you learn about that culture.
Don't ask nobody to touch their hair.
But it's like if this happens in a movie scene, it's like, the white person who only lives around white people and going like, oh my gosh, I wonder what that feels like. That's stupid. Right. Because it's so stupid.
Yeah, it is.
Chicago, The Dream and BJ the Chicago Kid are on Fubu, and this is one of the ones that she wrote that I mentioned in isolation in New Iberia. And then we have the Q-Tip feature, Borderline, an ode to self-care. Junie is a tribute to funk legend Junie Morrison. And then Master P, like the end of this album is like heavy P. It's like, so P is on track 3, and then P is on track 10, then P is on track 12, and then he's on 17, 19, and 21. So you get a lot of P at the end.
A lot of Master P.
Yeah, bout it, Master P.
He doesn't list the interludes on the sleeve here. So that's interesting.
Yeah, I wonder if they took them off. They're like, this album.
No, they're on the album.
Okay,
they're on the album, but not on like the lyric sheet.
Do you think, kind of thinking about like whether or not this album, the lasting impact it would have made, like, do you think this was pioneering in any way? Do you think this led to what we hear today, or is this just going to be one of those like gems that people go back to and go, oh my gosh, I can't believe Solange did this?
I think there is, if you listen to what some people call R&B these days, you listen to artists like Kalani, I think there is somewhat of I think this album does have some lasting influence. I think if you listen to any kind of like quote unquote alternative R&B, like there's, some of it does sound like this album. And I think some of that is due to Solange. Some of that is due to, the writers and producers that made the record. So I mean, I think to answer your question, I think it's a little bit of both. I think that people do remember it fondly still. I think Cranes in the Sky is one of those like evergreen songs that people are going to be talking about forever. And I think for some people it is kind of like an undiscovered gem, but also for some people it is like the blueprint for the music that they make as well. So yeah, it's kind of a little of column A, a little of column B.
All right, if we do our tiers, well, actually, before we get to our tiers, what do you think of the follow-up?
I don't like it. I was very disappointed by the follow-up.
It's a little different.
Yeah, I not for me.
It's not A Seat at the Table Part 2.
No.
How would you tier these albums? And let's even include we could include True or Not True. It's just an EP. It's not a full album.
I mean, 7 songs is, I mean, if this was the 80s, 7 songs would be a full album. I mean, I think, Seat at the Table is her best album. I think True is a dope record. Like almost an equal. It's like if A Seat at the Table has like the added, like the heaviness of the theme of the album. So I think I think just the way that the songs pull together and like the connective tissue makes it a better record. But I think True is like good stuff. Like all 7 songs on that album are dope. And I saw her touring behind that, and the show was great too. So Seat at the Table and True would be like, kind of the must-have albums. The Soul Angel album is kind of in the middle. And then the other 2 would be like, if you are into Solange, like really into Solange, like listen to those albums, but otherwise you can skip them.
Yeah, I would put Solo Star at the bottom, 4 stands only.
Yeah.
I would actually put When I Get Home in the middle, and I just have a respect for her not trying to make part 2, even if I didn't like it as much. Like,
right, I appreciate the creativity. It's just kind of not my thing.
Yeah, for sure. All right, what would you like if we take out the interludes or the skits?
The skits.
What would be your no skip rating for this one?
I'd give it an 8.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Okay, so we mentioned in our Grammys earlier for the Grammys Redux. So she wins 2017 Grammys. She wins Best R&B Performance for Cranes in the Sky. What is that? What does the performance part even mean? Did there have to be some sort of live appearance where she?
No, I think so. It used to be the way that the R&B categories were set up is that, there was a category for male, female, and group, and they just threw all of those together and they just make it Best R&B Performance. So it's gender unspecific, and it is also like it could be a solo artist or it could be a group. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. It's basically like there's a Best R&B Song category, which is a songwriters award, so that goes to the people that wrote the song, and then Best R&B Performances by the artist is given to the artist.
So I didn't want I didn't want to look at this album, A Seat at the Table, as far as like nominations for album of the year, because her sister's album is in there. There's no way she's beating her sister. I don't think.
You're right.
But if we look at Best Urban Contemporary Album, she is not nominated. The nominations are Beyonce's Lemonade.
Wait, but was she nominated for Best R&B Album?
No. I'll get that. That's my next one. I'll get to that.
Okay.
The nominations for Best Urban Contemporary: Lemonade, Beyonce; Ology from Gallant; We Are King from King; Malibu from Anderson .Paak; and Anti from Rihanna. Why is she not even nominated?
I mean, she should have been nominated. Also, Rihanna's not R&B. Or they said urban contemporary.
Urban contemporary.
Okay, that's a different thing. I mean, I'm not sure if you pronounce his name Gallant or Gallant.
Okay,
like the car. I'm not sure. That album is really good. But yeah, I mean, Solange should have been in one of those categories for sure.
And so we get Best R&B album. By the way, Beyonce wins that one.
Sure.
We get Best R&B album for that year. Layla Hathaway live. In My Mind, BJ the Chicago Kid. Velvet Portraits, Terrace Martin. Mint Condition, Healing Session, and Maya Smooth Jones.
Wow, Maya was still making records in 2016. Wow. Yeah, I said, why was Solange not actually? What day did when did that album come out? What was the release date?
September, like late September.
So it would have passed. It came out past the deadline. That's why.
Okay, so
The deadline's usually the end of August.
so if I looked at the 2018 Grammys, I wonder if she's nominated for any of these awards.
I would hope so.
I'm gonna guess no. As
Uh,
far as I know, okay. So best urban contemporary for the 2018 Grammys, Starboy by The Weeknd. I don't even know how you pronounce this, but Six Lack, is that just supposed to be black?
I think it's supposed to be just black.
Childish Gambino, Awaken My Love, Khalid, American Teen. This is Control. And then best R&B album would have been 24 Karat Magic, Bruno Mars, Daniel Caesar, Freudian, Ledisi, Let Love Rule, PJ Morton, Gumbo, Feel the Real, Music Soul Child. No Solange.
Weird that Solange didn't get weird.
Yeah,
I don't know. Oh no.
Well, who's on her team, man? We need to push harder for this stuff. Okay, I already did my hot take. I jumped the gun on the hot take, but I thought it was just
it's all good.
Perfect time. So dream collaborator. Here are the people that she has collaborated with: Raphael Sadiq, Dev Hynes, her sis, big sis, obviously Q-Tip and Sampha and Lil Wayne and The Dream and BJ the Chicago Kid, all on A Seat at the Table. I guess she did work with Pharrell on When I Get Home. Mm-hmm. Also, when she was younger, worked with the Neptunes and such. So who would you want to see her work with? Because I think, has she ever done like a duet with her sister?
Not that I know of. I know she's written songs with and for her sister.
Yeah.
But I don't know that they've ever done like a song together. Man, who would I like to see Solange do a record with? I thought about something and I have to take it back because I think they have worked together in the past. I was going to say Brandy. But I think Solange has written songs for Brandy. I would love to hear them do like a vocal duet though. I think
yeah. Totally. What about someone else who was kind of left but older, obviously, someone like Badu?
I could see a Solange. I'm trying to think.
Jilly from Philly?
That would be I would like a Solange Janelle Monáe record.
That'd be
like,
super.
Would be kind of dope. Yeah, that would be kind of dope. Or like Solange Miguel.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking like the lanes are kind of similar, or maybe somebody more. I was gonna say Solange and CeeLo Green, but they did a record together.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe somebody that's more in like the alternative space, like Solange. Here's something that would be really cool: Solange and Seal.
That'd be cool.
I think it'd be kind of a cool record. Yeah.
All right. I think we got through this whole thing.
All right.
So we just to kind of put the cap on this and not cap in the way that the young people say cap today. I had this conversation with somebody. I was like, when I was a little kid, capping on someone meant like you were like making fun of their mama.
You were snapping on them.
Yeah. And now it means something totally different. But again, 2016, it feels like because of all of the things that happened, and then you get the Tribe album, and then you get this album. Like if you were to think of music as educate me about what's going on in the world, I think these are two pretty darn good albums that would do that for people, in the future who don't really know too much about this time frame.
I agree. Yeah, for sure.
All right. So that is it from here. We're going to do more of these live streams, by the way. I think, we do these shows on the weekends generally, probably not the best for YouTube views, but I think it's just, it's more fun for me to do them live. So I think we'll keep doing them live and we'll keep scheduling them out. So if you follow our YouTube page, 50 for 50, you'll get the notifications, subscribe to that also on our audio feeds. And by the way, I am looking for a home for the future of this, because I think a lot of the stuff that we're talking about will exist down the line, and they will be
Right.
of importance. Like, who's going to talk about, some of the records that we talked about, like, in 5 years? Maybe some people will, but I like
Right.
them as like a little bit of an archive. I'm
I do
looking
too.
to do something with Substack. So I think Substack would be a nice archive. So we may start pushing some of our stuff there, but 50for50.net, you can still go there and see all of it. I just may change platforms. I think 50for50.net will ultimately still work even on Substack. I just kind of have to change it. So that'll still be the landing page. And the
Right.
last thing, and I'll end with this, is I told Mike before the show started that I was feeling kind of ill this weekend, and it's because I got my shingles vaccine, man. Talk about this is the vaccine for 50 for 50 is the shingles vaccine.
We are sponsored. 50for50.net is sponsored by the shingles vaccine, which you have to get when you're 50 years old.
You do. So when I got it, the nurse was like, okay, this one, this one's going to sting a little bit more. The other one will not. It won't. And so she puts it in and does it. And I was like, yeah, like that felt like a little knife going into my shoulder. Like, why is that one a little bit more harsh? And she said that the vaccine itself is a little bit of a thicker vaccine. And so it's not just the shot aspect of it. It's the stuff going through your arm. The liquid going through your arm is thicker.
That's very interesting.
That's wild. And
that's crazy.
My shoulder is still sore. Not that that's the biggest part of it. It's mostly you get the reaction, your body reacts to it. And, I was okay that night, though I did hit a wall. The next morning, I was feeling it. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, I start to feel better. And so I started doing normal stuff, hit a wall again. So this is my third day with it. And I think I'm out of the woods. We'll see. My workout will tell me the truth on whether or not I'm all good or not. So, okay.
Yeah. I mean, but all that to say, get the vaccine. I got the shingles vaccine also a couple months ago, and it knocked me out as well. But I have also had shingles. Which I
don't want that.
0 out of 10 do not recommend.
Do not want that.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it from here. For Mike, I'm Double G, 50for50.net. See you when we see you. Peace.
Peace.
Out.